Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is your girl, A. Christine, and welcome to the Kat Harvey and A. Christine show. Dun, 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 dun. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. And for those of us who are in the Midwest and any area of the country that is being impacted by this weather or this winter weather system, stay in, stay warm. If you have to go out, bundle up, get those gas tanks full and just make sure that you can make it from where you have to go to where you need to be. So, again, good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. We've all had a successful week. Chime in the comments. Let me know that you're here. I am happy to be here with you guys on this Saturday morning. And just a quick shout out to all of our followers, subscribers, friends, and supporters. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate you all. Happy New Year as well. We are into 2024 of about a week or two now, and hopefully it's going just as you planned it. And if it's not too late to turn it around. Don't let it get you down. Come on, let's keep going together. But happy New Year, happy blessed year. Oh, you guys can see my little girl right in the back. She keeps me on my toes. Okay. But anyways, happy new year. Happy blessed year. Let's get this thing going. Really quick though, for all of our wonderful friends and viewers, if you have not taken the opportunity yet to do this, I would love for you to head on over to our YouTube channel. Yes, our YouTube channel, which is the Kat Harvey and A. Christine show. You can follow us there. I'm going to put the information right at the bottom of the screen. You can subscribe to our channel, watch past episodes. You can also interact with us, leave feedback, leave comments. We are always happy to hear from you, our Kat Harvey and A. Christine family. There's nobody like you all in the world, okay? So head over to our YouTube channel, click subscribe, watch those episodes, be inspired, and hit like. It would just be really appreciated. Also, you can connect with us on Instagram at the Kat Harvey and A. Christine show. We would love to connect with you there. Stay up to date on everything that we're doing, all the fun stuff, all the somewhat fun stuff, because we have to be adults every now and then. But head over, follow us on Instagram. You can also connect with us on Facebook at Kat Harvey Kat Harvey A. Christine. Forgive me, Kat Harvey A. Christine. You can connect with us there. Again, leave some feedback, drop a like, a love, a comment. We are always happy to hear from you. But just the name of the game this year is support, support, support. We want to be intentional about who we're connecting with, what we're connecting with, and what we're receiving from the sources that we connect to. On this channel, we are just aiming every time we talk to you to encourage, empower, and equip you. We want to build you up in the areas of faith, family, fitness, and fun. So let's connect, let's be intentional, and we are going to be sharing with you everything that we possibly can to keep you inspired and to keep you encouraged. Okay. So now that we're here, let's just talk about 2024 really quick. Did it come in with a bang? Was it really low key? Or was it just what you needed it to be? Did you go out of town? Did you stay home? Let's see. Drop in on those comments and let me know what you're thinking, or tell me what you did for New Year's. For me, mine was pretty intimate. We went to my dad's house, and my husband and my dad fell asleep, and then my daughter fell asleep. Actually, let me give it to you in the order. My husband fell asleep first. Don't kill me for telling everybody, boo. But my husband fell asleep first. My dad fell asleep second. My dad fights his sleep. And so then, when you catch him sleep and he kind of, jumps up, he's like, oh no, I wasn't asleep. I was looking at TV. I saw everything that was happening. You're like, Dad, you were snoring. I don't think you do that while you're awake. Does anybody else have a parent or a family or friend like that that's like, you were clearly asleep? No, I wasn't asleep. I was just counting my eyelashes, anything, right? So my husband fell asleep first. My dad fell asleep second. My daughter and I were just up playing around. And then she got her soft blanket and she got into a really comfortable spot on my lap. And that was it. So I was the only one awake. And I think while I was awake, I was working on new marketing and things of that nature for our show and for things that we have coming up this year. I'm so excited. But I was up, looking at the countdown and watching, the ball drop on New Year's Eve. But it was a very low key, intimate, and just personal time. And I've had those very loud, huge, big celebrations. But this year was much more laid back and just quiet. And that's okay. I enjoyed it just as much as I did all of the loud celebrations, the confetti cannons and the noisemakers. I enjoyed it. Nevertheless, I want to hear, what you did for New Year's as well. Let me know. Was it big and loud or was it intimate and quiet? But again, either way, Happy New Year to you. And thank you again for watching. So let's just jump into today's topic. Today we're talking about something a little more serious. We're normally upbeat. And even in this, I will still be upbeat, but we all have to cross this way. And we all have to deal with loss. We all have to deal with grief. And yes, I had to take a sip. It's something that's unpleasant. It's not fun, but we have to deal with it. We all have to deal with it. We all have an encounter with it. This is something, loss and grief are something that it is a common denominator. No matter who you are, where you're from, how much money you do or do not have, how many degrees you do or do not have, how much you... Oh my gosh, my daughter's going to be a gymnast, mark my words, or some type of entertainer. Wow, I'm amazed. But anyways, grief is a common denominator, and it is a road that we all must walk down and travel. No matter who you are, where you're from, how much money you do or don't have, how many degrees you do or don't have, your level of education, the amount of people that you know. We all have to walk down this road or come into contact with this common denominator, as I like to call it. And for our loved ones who pass on, that's one thing. But then it's like, well, what about us? Those of us who are still here to deal with the ramifications of loss, the ramifications of grief. And I don't want to just limit it to the passing of a person or the transition of a person. I would also like to expand the topic of loss and grief to the loss of an opportunity, an idea, the loss of a place, the loss of a relationship, a dream or a goal, something that you wanted and maybe you'd aged out of it. A relationship and maybe it's just not working. An opportunity and maybe you no longer live in that area, that region. Maybe you no longer are with that particular company and maybe your goal was to grow to, C-suite level, with this particular company. Either way, I want to expand our minds and expand the topic of grief and loss past just losing a person. But let's just focus on the general topic of loss. And I am going to just pull up some quick tips. Let's see what Google actually has to offer. And then I'm going to, kind of compare that side by side and just share some personal tips excuse me, an advice that I used to help, myself, or that helped me. I'll say that helped me get over loss, major loss and grief. And to be honest, it helps me still, because the grieving process, and maybe this would be tip number one, um, you know, to not expect your grief or your grieving of a loss of a person or a thing or an idea to be limited to an amount of time. It's not like, okay, I just need 30 days and then I'll be over it. And I'll never think about them again or it again. I'll never have a moment, an emotional moment. I'll never cry. I'll never, have a missing moment. It is not limited to an amount of time. It can hit you at first. It can get better for a while. A song, a smell, a fabric, a color, a memory, a place, anything can, at the drop of a dime, trigger another memory of a happier time when you were with that person in that position, doing that thing, whatever. And it could just, for a quick moment, it transports you to a place of euphoria because you remember how happy it was. You can remember the temperature outside. You can remember what you all had on that day. It just transports you back to a happy time. Um, but then once that memory is over, that's the tricky part because it's almost like the letdown of an energy drink. It's not gradual, it's all of a sudden. And that can be hard to deal with because, for that brief moment, you were taken back to that memory. And then reality sets in that, oh, that's no longer the case. So, what do you do? What do you do with that moment? What do you do with those emotions? The best, some of the best things that have helped me in those moments where I just sit with it. I don't try to immediately rush out of it. If this makes sense, I embrace that feeling of loss or of emotional release. I embrace that feeling of sadness or of grief. I embrace that because it's the truth. The memory was great to have. It made me smile. But the truth is that that is no longer the case. And I do have to continually check in with reality and understand that while I appreciate what I had and what was, in order for me to continue living and functioning and being successful in today's world, I do still have to accept that that is no longer. Okay. So I embrace that down moment, that sad moment, and I sit with it. And if I need to cry, I cry. If I need to pray, I pray. If I just need to sit silently, I sit silently. If I need to throw something, I throw a pillow because it's not going to damage anything. Notice, disclaimer, A. Christine is not telling you to damage any property, okay? But for real, I do what I need to do in that moment and I release those emotions. I let them flow. Bottling them up will only make it worse. It will only assist you in fighting against reality. And it actually makes you like physically unhealthy because you've never released that. Now, if I could make you laugh, emotions being held in is like gas being held in. You can seriously, and I don't know if anyone has ever experienced this or know someone who, has kind of had a backup of gas, but you can seriously make yourself sick and, injure your gastrointestinal system because you hold in something that is meant to be released. And if you can flow with me for a minute, emotions like gas are created. They are created so that you feel it, but it's also created so that you release it. Do not fart in the car when you're with people, okay? You guys know I have to laugh. But, anyways, you have to release that. All that said, just like gas, it smells, it stinks, it's unpleasant. But those emotions, although feeling them can be unpleasant, you still have to release them. Because if you hold it in, it will cause you in your heart to grow bitter or depressed. Um, and then also, it can cause you to grow physically sick because there's a lot of emotional weight on you. And some people don't think that that stuff is real, but it's very real if talk to different families or people and they seem like they always bring this thing up or they just can't work past a certain situation or time in their life. But then you look at their physical condition, most time there's a physical condition as well, and they don't know why their body is like this. It's because they have never actively taken steps to deal with loss. So anyways, one tip from me is, when that memory comes of happiness, embrace that memory. But when the letdown of what reality is comes, embrace that too. Now, let's see. A quick search on your phone, Apple or Android, whatever. I'm not going to start that debate today. But let's look it up, because a lot of times also, I want to say this, that help is at your fingertips. And I think sometimes we don't utilize the tips that we have for us, or the tools that we have to help ourselves get out of that deep, dark pit, that place. Um, and that's important. Just knowing that help is at your fingertips, whether it is Googling how to deal with loss, or whether it is, calling or texting someone, just the simple word, hey, or SOS, 911, whatever your code word is with that person or those people that, love you and support you and that have your back. That's important, because a lot of times we don't reach out. We will feel so isolated and feel like no one loves me, no one cares, or, yeah, I know people are there, but, I'm just dealing with this on my own. No one really checks on me. No one really comes by. And hear me when I say this, isolation, after a while, it will have you to also become very selfish, because it turns into a you thing. Yes, you are grieving the loss of whatever it or whomever they were, but it turns you away from people and more into yourself, not to, pray and, seek understanding on how to deal with, but turn you away from people in a, like, almost like a hermit. You crawl back, or you go retreat back into your own space, and you don't reach out, and therefore no one can even reach to you. And I'm pretty sure that there are people who are reaching, but you're not in a position to receive them because your back is turned. So that is also something. So help is at your fingertips. Dial that person's phone number that is a support, or those people. Text that person or those people, or like what we're going to do today. If you feel like, I don't want to burden anybody with where I am, with what I'm thinking, help is literally right at your fingertips. So let's see what Google has to say about how to deal with grief. Very first thing, they're going to offer you quite a few suggestions and quite a few websites. And at this point, if you're at a low point, don't search for the perfect thing. Search for anything that will help you. Grief can be tough, and it is tough. And again, it's not something that you just get over in a day or so or a month or so. To be honest, grief is lifelong. It is it's a piece of jewelry almost if you think about it. It's a piece of jewelry that you never take off. And it's something that you wear. It's something that's with you. So even for those of us who are, married, some of us sleep with our wedding bands on, some of us don't. So if you take off your wedding band at night, what is one of the first things that you do when you get up, in the morning or before you leave for work? You're definitely going to put your wedding band back on. You never leave the house without it. That's kind of what grief is. You can shake it a few times. Ashton, no, don't turn off the light. So my daughter's obsessed with her job. Her chore is to turn on and turn off the light. And so she's trying to turn off the light because that's her job. Although it's not time for the lights to be off. But anyways, the point is, it's something that travels with you, that stays with you, and that can come up from a trigger moment, at any time. So let's see. Literally, the very first list on Google says coping with grief. And what was my first tip to you all? Embracing it. Yes. They give a list of 16 things. I'm just going to read it off really quick. It says embrace grief, accept your emotions, take care of yourself, understand grief affects everybody, join a support group, write your loved one or opportunity, relationship, whoever, whatever, a letter. That's a personal thing. That's for you. It's not weird. It's not odd. It's not, it's not strange. Write and release. Yeah. Write and release. And then I encourage you to keep writing if you need to. But let's see. So join a support group, write your loved one a letter, get enough sleep, seek support, talk it out, talk to someone. For real, you can eat, well, not you can eat, but eat regularly, exercise, experience anniversaries, still celebrate, special days. So for me, well, let me keep reading the list and then I'll go back to that experiencing an anniversary still celebrating it. So experiencing an anniversary, focus on listening. You can hydrate. God bless you. Bless you. You can hydrate, preserve memories, reach out to other friends and family members that may have experienced a similar type of loss, a loss period, or just people that you know that are in your corner. Reach out. Again, if you go into isolation, it is an act of turning your back towards those who do support you. Remember, isolation is a physical act of turning your back towards those who do love and support you. So isolation is something that you do not want to go into if you are dealing with the loss of a person, an opportunity, a relationship, a place, an idea. You never want to get to that point where you feel just so to yourself and so isolated. But let me highlight the note about experiencing an anniversary. And again, this is all in the realm of, how to deal with loss or how to deal with grief. My mom passed away in early 2021. And just honestly, just maybe Wednesday of this week, I had a very strong urge. Really? Okay. We've got a dancer and a singer here, but my mom passed away in February of 2021. And just Wednesday of this week, I had a very strong urge to text her. And it was almost like, not like, oh, I want to text her because I miss her. Oh, man, she's not here, so I can't. It was like, wait, will you clap? Will you have a seat for me, please? Thank you, pretty girl. But my urge to text my mom was almost like knee-jerk reaction from whatever it was that had just happened, it was like, oh, I want to share this picture with my mom. I want her to see this. This is so funny. This is so cute. My daughter's talking to her baby doll. But it was crazy because that was something. Now, I've wanted to text my mom since she's passed away. I've wanted to call my mom, and I have called my mom a few times just to almost listen to the phone ring, right? But this week, this urge was different. This was like she wasn't gone type of, like me texting a friend that I know is, still alive. Like it was just simple like that. Like there was no thought to it. It was just, oh, this is so funny. I want to send this to my mom. She would find this hilarious. She would find this to be so funny. And I literally had hit the share button and was, copying the link, whatever it was, and was, about to text. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Back up. Yes, she would normally find something like this funny if she was here to still laugh with me. Okay. And so I just sat still for a moment and was like, oh man, deep breath. So I can no longer share with my mom in that way. She is not here for me physically to share those things with her. So I just sat there for a moment. And soon after that, reality check, the tears came. And it was probably like a tearful 5 to 7 minutes because, I'm not going to get up and run away from it. That's me sitting in it, sitting with it, and just embracing it and going through the motions of letting go those emotions, going through what needs to be done so that I can keep having moments even after this, because this happened maybe at 10 or 11 a.m. With that being said, if you understand what I'm saying, we're within a 24-hour day and most of us work. Some of us still a traditional 9 to 5, 8:30 to 5, 8:30 to 4, but my point is, if something like this happens earlier in your day, what are you going to do? You can't just stay there. So I let the moment come. I let it flow. And then almost just as quickly as it came, it transitioned away. I smiled. I took about 30 seconds to a minute to pray. I thanked God for my mom and that she was the type of person that I could even mourn or miss. Some people don't have good relationships with their mothers or whoever. And then I just asked him to continue to help me in the grieving process, and that he helped me to have a great rest of the day. And I transitioned right out of that, right back into, my workflow. But now to the note of experiencing anniversaries still. So my mom's birthday, that is an anniversary of the day she was born, if you want to look at it that way, right? I still celebrate her birthday. I sure do. For the first 2 years, because now it's 2024, so 2022, 2020. Actually, I'm sorry, because she passed away in February of 2021, her birthday, she was just a few months shy of what would have been her 75th birthday. So we celebrated on her birthday in 2021, the same year that she passed away. Wait. I know, but you threw it down. You have to wait now. Yeah. Wait. So we celebrated that year of 2021. Then we also celebrated her birthday in 2022. We celebrated again in 2023. And if you know me personally, you know that I am a celebrator, like of all celebrators. I love to celebrate. I love to have a good time. I love birthdays. They are so special. And then not only that, like every day is special, but especially birthdays. Hi. Her baby doll is waving at me. Okay. So, but we still celebrated her birthday, and we went and did something that was fun. It was uplifting. It was lighthearted. And we had really good food. That was my mom. She, I just try to do something every year that I know she would love to do. And so she and I are a lot alike. So doing something that I like to do is probably something that she would like to do too. But all that said, we went and we celebrated the memory of a beautiful person by spending time, quality time together, going someplace fun, and eating really good food. And you can be as elaborate or as simple as you want. In the future, who knows? I may spend that day or some time on that day alone, maybe still doing something fun or something not as outwardly big. I may go to a spa. My mom also loved to, when it was relaxed time, she loved to relax and be comfy. And she loved massages. So I may go get a massage and a facial. And just, there are things that I could do and just share with my mom that, might not necessarily be your thing. But the point is, celebrate a special day. Do something that reminds you of that person. Do something, and it's not that it just reminds you of them, but it's for you too, to help you to continue to deal with the loss, to deal with the grief. There are more things to do in dealing with loss or grief than, okay, bring it to me. Bring it to me. Come here. Come here. Be careful. Thank you. There are more things to do in loss and grief. Can I have it, please? Thank you, beautiful. Thank you, girlfriend. There are more things to do in loss and grief than just, sitting in the house and not taking care of yourself and not doing things that make you happy. It's a tough subject because it dives really deep and it goes down to the very fibers of who we are. 1 second, you guys. It goes down to the very Ashton. No. It just goes down to the very fibers of who we are and how we deal with things. Some of us have never even been taught how to cope properly. So I would say the important tips to remember are help is at your fingertips, whether it's calling someone, texting someone, or just doing a simple Google or Safari search or Siri, whatever. The point is, the help is at your fingertips. You do not have to be isolated. Isolation turns your back towards people that are trying to help you. And last but not least, embrace those moments as they come, because it won't just be one moment. It will be many moments. Many moments. Embrace them. Embrace the moment, embrace the memory, and embrace the reality. And keep going. You may feel like, hey, Christine, but how do I keep going? The keep going part of it is something that it's not even in our control. You'll find that after you sit with that moment and you have the emotions that flow out, there'll be like somewhat of a transition that happens where you start to stop crying and you'll begin to wipe your face. You'll have some lingering thoughts, but your mind on its own will smoothly transition back into what you were just doing prior to this moment happening. And that's important to note because we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to get over or to keep moving forward. The moving forward process is something that actually happens naturally. Embrace that as well. Okay? Guys, listen, we're at our time for today, but I want to leave you with those tips. Help is only Help is only a text away, a call away. Help is literally at your fingertips. Number two, well, no, so number one, help is at your fingertips. Number two, isolation turns your back to those trying to help you. And it goes from, please help me, to, I don't want any help. And the truth is, we all need help. So, number one, help is at your fingertips. Number two, isolation turns your back to those trying to help. And number three, embrace the moments that grief brings. The memory and the reality check. The memory, the emotions, and the reality check. Number four, most importantly, moving forward is not something that we have to do. It happens naturally. It's just another step to embrace. Okay? Guys, listen, I hope that this has been uplifting still, helpful though, and just a real life conversation with one of your favorite girlfriends about how to deal with grief, whether it's the grief of a person, the grief of a thing, even a pet, because we had to say goodbye to our fur baby. And it was very hard. And to this day, I'll see a picture and sometimes it'll take me right into a moment. And again, I just follow the same steps. These are not steps that I, learned out of a book. These are steps that I kind of like learned on my own, and between listening to like some podcasts and some different, people talk about how they've dealt with grief, or, what they've done as well. I've just kind of developed a process that works for me, but I am ever learning this process. Okay. But again, hopefully this conversation has been helpful, uplifting, but more than anything, hopefully you know that it was just for you. Okay. I love you guys. This is A. Christine. And again, connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We are so happy to talk with you all, hear from you all, and just connect. If you're dealing with a tough time right now, or dealing with some troubling thoughts, reach out to your support community. Reach out to those friends and family members. No, it's not too much. No, you're not too much. No, it's not too heavy. And no, you're not too heavy. Reach out to them and just say, hey, will you pray for me? Hey, I need a hug. Hey, can we just talk? And just start the healing process and let it go from there. Okay. It's not too much. Go ahead and reach out. You guys, listen, we are going to make it, and we're going to do it together. Okay. So again, this is A. Christine from the Kat Harvey and A. Christine Show, talking about how to deal with loss and what we can do to make that journey and that process a little bit smoother, because we're doing it together. All right, guys, love you much. Have a great Saturday and be wonderful. Bye-bye.